Listen closely, because what I'm about to share could change your life forever. My name is Martin Hayes, and I was a man who lived for facts, cold, hard science, until the day I died. Yes, you heard that right. On February 12th, 2025, I fell through the ice in Antarctica. My heart stopped for 12 minutes, and I stood face to face with Jesus himself. What he showed me wasn't just a glimpse of eternity, it was a warning. A deception is coming, faster than you think, and it's already creeping into your news feeds, your conversations, your soul. Are you ready to see the truth? Here's the hard truth. You're being lied to, about the world, about what's hidden beneath those frozen walls of Antarctica, about what's coming next. I was a geophysicist, a skeptic who laughed at faith, until the ice swallowed me whole and Jesus pulled me out of the grave to tell you this. The enemy is setting a trap, and it's dressed up as progress, as enlightenment, as hope. But don't despair, because today I'm handing you the key to break free, a truth so powerful it'll shake your spirit awake. Stick with me to the end, because if you miss this, you might miss the one thing that could save your soul. And hey, real quick, look at the numbers. Thousands watch these videos on Blessed Horizons, but so many of you haven't hit that subscribe button yet. If this message stirs your heart, and trust me, it will, click subscribe right now. Don't risk missing what's coming next. This isn't just a video, it's a wake-up call from God himself. Let's walk this journey together, because the clock is ticking and you don't want to be caught sleeping when the ice breaks. Now let's step into this together. Imagine you're with me on that frozen edge, staring into the abyss. What if everything you thought you knew about the world was about to flip upside down? That's where my story begins, and it's where your eyes start to open. So there I was, a man of science, standing on the edge of Antarctica's icy wilderness, chasing answers I thought I could measure with tools and data. I'd spent years as a geophysicist, studying the ice walls, mapping signals beneath the frozen surface, signals that didn't add up, whispers of something strange we couldn't explain. But on February 12th, 2025, everything changed. The ice didn't just crack beneath my feet, it swallowed me whole. I fell into darkness, my breath stolen by the cold, my team's screams fading into silence. That was the moment my life ended, and the moment it truly began. I wasn't a believer back then. I'd smirk at the idea of God, of anything beyond what I could see or touch. But as I lay there, lifeless under the ice, something happened that no equation could solve. I felt myself rising, weightless, looking down at my broken body, and then I saw him, Jesus. His voice called my name, Martin, gentle yet piercing, like a shepherd calling a lost sheep home. In John 10:27 he says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." I didn't know it then, but I was about to follow him into a truth so vast it would shatter every wall I'd built around my heart. What he showed me wasn't just a personal revelation, it was a glimpse into a hidden reality the world's been blind to. Picture this. You're going about your day, trusting the news, the experts, the voices telling you what's real. But what if they're wrong? What if beneath the surface, beneath the ice of your own life, there's a battle raging, one you can't see but can feel in your spirit? That's what Jesus revealed to me. The Antarctic ice walls aren't just nature's barriers, they're divine seals, holding back something ancient, something the enemy wants unleashed. And trust me, when I say the enemy, I'm not talking about some cartoon devil with a pitchfork. I'm talking about a deceiver who's been weaving lies since the garden. Here's where it gets real for you. Think about the last time you felt uneasy, like something was off in the world, maybe a headline that didn't sit right, a promise of progress that felt hollow. That's your spirit whispering what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Jesus didn't just show me Antarctica's secrets to scare me, he showed me so I could warn you. In Matthew 24:4, he says, "Take heed that no one deceives you. Deception's coming, dressed up as a gift, and it's closer than you think." So how do you prepare? Start by listening, not to the noise out there, but to the still, small voice within. That's where this journey takes us next. When Jesus called my name, I didn't just hear it, I felt it, like a thunderclap in my soul that woke me from a lifetime of sleepwalking. There I was, floating above my lifeless body, the Antarctic ice stretching out like a frozen grave beneath me. But instead of fear, I felt peace, peace that surpasses understanding, like Philippians 4:7 promises. And then he took my hand, and the world I knew melted away. Suddenly, I wasn't in Antarctica anymore. I was standing on a ground that had pulsed with life, facing ice walls taller than any mountain, glowing with a purpose I'd never imagined. Jesus looked at me, his eyes holding a love so deep it broke me open, and he said, "Martin, look and see what has been hidden." Before me stretched a landscape that wasn't earth, wasn't heaven, but something in between, a boundary, a threshold. Those ice walls weren't random, they were crafted by God's own design. He said, these were placed to seal what should not be touched. I saw beneath them, not just ice, but a city, ancient and alive, its structures twisting in ways that defied every law I'd studied. And I realized this wasn't about science anymore. This was about a truth so sacred, so guarded, that it's been kept from us for a reason. Now let's bring this home for you. Ever wonder why some places, like Antarctica, feel off-limits, shrouded in mystery? It's not just politics or science keeping us away. It's divine protection. Think of it like a lock on a door you're not ready to open. In Genesis 3, after Adam and Eve fell, God placed cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the tree of life. Why? To protect humanity from what we couldn't handle. Those ice walls are the same, a mercy, not a mistake. But here's the kicker. Mankind's about to pick that lock, and Jesus showed me what happens when we do. I used to think faith was blind, but standing there with him, I saw it's the opposite. It's sight beyond sight. You don't need a PhD to feel this truth stirring in. Maybe you've sensed it too, a restlessness, a nudge that the world's not what it seems. That's God calling you to pay attention. In Revelation 3:20, Jesus says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." He's knocking right now, through this story, through your doubts. So what do? You start asking questions, not just about Antarctica, but about where your own walls are, the ones keeping you from seeing what's really at stake. As Jesus stood beside me, the ice walls loomed like silent sentinels, guarding secrets I wasn't ready to fathom. Then he raised his hand, and my vision stretched beyond anything I'd ever known. I saw Antarctica from above. Not the barren wasteland I'd mapped for years, but a battlefield sealed in frost. Beneath the ice, I glimpsed vast cities not built by human hands, pulsing with a dark energy that made my spirit recoil. Jesus' voice cut through the silence, steady and sorrowful. This is what they will seek to unleash. The world will call it discovery, but it is the beginning of their fall. Here's where it hit me like a freight train. This wasn't some distant fairy tale. This was real, and it was coming fast. I saw scientists, people like me, drilling deeper, their faces lit with pride, unaware they were pawing at a cage they couldn't control. I saw leaders in shadowed rooms, plotting how to spin this to the world. And then I saw you, yes, you, watching news reports about groundbreaking finds in Antarctica, feeling that flicker of unease, but brushing it off. Jesus warned me in Matthew 24:24, false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. That's the game plan. Dazzle you with miracles, then sell you a lie. Let's get practical for a second. You've seen the headlines, strange heat signatures, ancient ruins popping up in the ice. Maybe you've scrolled past them thinking, cool, but so what? That's where the enemy wants you. Distracted, numb, too busy to dig deeper. But Jesus didn't leave me or you without a shield. He showed me how to stand firm. Prayer. Not just a quick thanks God before dinner, but a warrior's prayer. Like Ephesians 6:18 says, praying at all times in the Spirit, with all prayer and supplication. Try this. Next time you hear something that feels off, pause, ask God, show me the truth. It's simple, but it's how you start seeing through the fog. I used to laugh at folks who talked about spiritual battles, thought they were chasing shadows. But standing there, watching those dark forms twist beneath the ice, I knew I'd been the fool. The deception's already creeping in, and it's slicker than you'd guess. Ever notice how every big breakthrough promises to fix your life? New tech, new cures, new hope. That's the bait. Jesus didn't just show me the trap, he showed me the way out. And that's where we're headed next. Because knowing what's coming is one thing, but knowing how to fight it, that's power. The team. Moment. Jesus showed me what's beneath those ice walls. My whole world flipped upside down. I watched as shadows slithered out from that ancient city, entities older than time, sealed away by God's hand. Then the scene shifted, and I saw the future unfolding like a storm rolling in. News anchors beamed about historic discoveries in Antarctica, scientists unveiled tech that seemed impossible, and world leaders promised a new era of unity. But Jesus leaned in close, his voice steady as stone. Satan's greatest weapon is deception, and they're walking right into his hands. I saw it play out, people cheering, lining up for what they'd call the next step in evolution. It wasn't forced, it was begged for. A cure for every sickness, endless energy, life stretched beyond natural limits, all wrapped in a bow of progress. But here's the gut punch. Those shadows I saw under the ice, they were pulling the strings. Jesus pointed to them and said, they will come as saviors and many will worship them. In 2 Corinthians 11:14, it's written, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. That's the trick, not a monster in the dark, but a hero in the spotlight. Now, let's talk about you. Ever feel like the world's moving too fast, like every new gadget or headline's pushing you to keep up? That's not an accident, it's conditioning. They're prepping you to say yes without thinking. But Jesus didn't leave me helpless, and he's not leaving you either. He showed me a weapon stronger than any lie: discernment. How do you get it? Start with Psalm 119:105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Crack open your Bible, even for 5 minutes a day. Let God's truth sink in. Next time you hear some shiny promise, hold it up to Scripture. Does it match Jesus' words, or does it smell like a sales pitch? I used to think I could outsmart the world with my brain, degrees, data, logic. But standing there, watching nations fall for a lie so beautiful it hurt, I saw the real fights in the spirit. The enemy's not just after your mind, he's after your soul. And here's the wild part. You've got the power to push back, not with fancy words or loud protests, but with quiet, steady faith. That's what Jesus handed me, a lifeline, and it's yours too. So what happens when the lie gets louder? That's where this gets even crazier. As Jesus stood with me, the vision sharpened into something I'll never unsee. The world was celebrating, streets packed with people, screens, flashing promises of a golden age sparked by Antarctica's miracles. Then I saw it, the mark. Not a cartoonish tattoo or a sci-fi chip forced on screaming crowds, but a choice dangled like a carrot. Leaders called it the upgrade, a way to be smarter, stronger, immortal. People didn't just take it, they craved it, and Jesus said, his voice heavy with warning, "This is where they lose me. The mark will sever them from my spirit forever." I watched, heart pounding, as folks lined up, smiling, trusting, blind. The shadows from beneath the ice hovered unseen, their whispers feeding the lie. Revelation 13:16-17 hit me like a brick. It causes all to be marked on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. This wasn't about control through fear, it was control through desire. Jesus looked at me, eyes piercing my soul, and said, "They won't force it, they'll make them want it." And that's the true test of faith. Here's where you come in. Ever Notice how every ad, every trend nudges you to need more. More tech, more convenience, more life. That's the warm-up act. When the mark comes and it's closer than you think, it'll feel like the answer to every problem you've ever had. But Jesus gave me the antidote, abiding in him. John 15:4 says, "Abide in me and I in you." How? Talk to him daily, like a friend. Start your morning with, "Lord, keep my eyes open today." It's not fancy, but it roots you in his truth. Test every promise against his word, because the enemy's best lies sound like love. I used to think I'd see through any trick. I was a scientist after all. But watching people trade their souls for a shiny upgrade, I realized how slick this deception is. It's not about spotting the bad guy. It's about clinging to the good shepherd. The world's about to get loud with false wonders, and your faith, it's your anchor. Jesus didn't just show me the end game to scare me. He showed me so I could arm you, and trust me, the fight's just heating up. Then, just as the vision burned brightest, Jesus touched my shoulder and everything faded. His last words echoed in me. "It's time to return, Martin. Warn them." Next thing I knew, I was gasping awake, lungs burning, doctors shouting in disbelief. I'd been dead 12 minutes, gone, no pulse, no breath. Yet here I was, back in a hospital bed with the weight of eternity pressing on my chest. The Antarctic ice had claimed me, but Jesus reclaimed me. And I knew why. The world's asleep, and I'm the alarm clock. They called it a miracle, but I saw their faces, skepticism, unease. A doctor asked, "What did you see?" My voice rasped out the truth. Jesus is real. The deception's coming. Antarctica's not what we think. Some scoffed, but one nurse nodded, whispering she'd heard rumors too. That's when it clicked. Jesus didn't send me back to convince everyone, just to reach the ones who'd listen. Like in Mark 4:9, he says, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." I wasn't here to debate. I was here to deliver a message straight from the King. Now this is your part. You're hearing this for a reason, maybe a nudge in your spirit, a question you've buried. The deception's already trickling in. Headlines about Antarctica, hints of big reveals. Jesus showed me you'd face this, and he's showing you how to stand. Start small. Love like he did. John 13:34 says, "Love one another as I have loved you." Next time you're mad, say stuck in traffic or hurt by a friend, pause. Pray, "Lord, help me love them anyway." It's not just nice, it's armor against a world about to sell you hate, dressed as hope. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, my old life, science, logic, pride, crumbling like dry ice. I'd seen the enemy's playbook, and it's brutal but beatable. Jesus didn't bring me back to sit quiet. He brought me back to shout from the rooftops. The ice walls are cracking, and what's coming isn't progress, it's a test. You've got a role in this too, and it starts with waking up. How do you stay ready? That's where the real fight begins. After I came back, the world didn't feel the same. My body was alive, but my spirit was on fire with what Jesus showed me. I couldn't unsee it, the ice walls trembling, the shadows stirring, the lie taking shape. And then I turned on the news. Reports of weird heat signatures under Antarctica, scientists buzzing about ancient finds. It was starting. My stomach sank as Jesus' words rang in my ears. They will say it's enlightenment, but it's the final deception. I wasn't just watching a memory. I was watching it happen. Every night the visions haunted me. Governments drip-feeding hints, prepping the world for the big reveal. I saw a former colleague on TV talking about unexplained structures beneath the ice. His voice dripping with excitement I now knew was naive. Jesus warned me this would roll out slow, subtle, like a frog boiling in a pot. 2 Thessalonians 2:9-10 says, "The coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan with all power and false signs and wonders, and with all wicked deception for those who are perishing." That's the script. Miracles so slick you won't blink until it's too late. Here's where you step up. You've felt it. scrolling your phone, catching a headline that sounds big but off. That's the enemy softening the ground. Jesus didn't leave me or you defenseless, though. He showed me faith isn't just believing, it's acting. Try this. Guard your mind. Philippians 4:8 says, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, think about these things. Next time you're tempted to binge the news or buy the hype, stop. Ask, is this drawing me to God or pulling me away? It's a small choice, but it's how you keep your footing when the ground shakes. I used to think I could reason my way through anything. Data was my God. But watching the world inch toward this lie, I saw reasons not enough. The enemy's too clever, and the stakes are eternal. Jesus brought me back to, I tell you, it's here, it's now, and you're not helpless. The ice is cracking louder every day, and what's beneath it? It's not just a discovery, it's a doorway. How do you face that? That's what's coming next. Days turned to weeks after I came back. But the fire Jesus lit in me wouldn't fade. I'd sit in silence, replaying it all, the ice walls, the shadows, the world cheering for its own chains. Then, a stranger reached out, a former scientist with haunted eyes. He said, "You're right, Martin, but it's already too late." His words chilled me, but Jesus' voice cut through. It's not too late for those who hear. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and poured it out. The deception's begun. Don't believe the miracles. Hold fast to Jesus. The time is now. I saw the signs multiplying, news teasing Antarctic breakthroughs, whispers of a new age creeping into conversations. It wasn't theory anymore, it was reality, unfolding just as he showed me. Leaders would unveil this as humanity's big win, but Jesus called it the enemy's checkmate. Revelation 12:9 warns, that ancient serpent called the devil who deceives the whole world. I'd been a skeptic, blind to faith, yet here I was, a witness to a truth most won't face. My job wasn't to stop it, it was to wake you up. This is your moment. The lie's coming, slick and shiny, and it'll feel good to buy it. But Jesus didn't leave you empty-handed. He gave me one last tool: trust. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding." How? Surrender daily. Wake up and say, "Lord, I don't get it all, but I trust you." When the world pushes its upgrade, you'll feel the pull. Trust him anyway. It's not about outsmarting the enemy. It's about outlasting him with faith. I used to chase facts, thinking they'd save me. Now I know, truth isn't in the data, it's in the one who died for me. The ice walls are crumbling, and what's coming will test everything you believe. Jesus brought me back to tell you, you're not a bystander, you're a warrior in this fight. The deception's here, but so is his grace. How you walk through this, that's the victory waiting on the other side. So here we are. The ice is cracking, the deception's rolling in, and Jesus handed me this truth to hand to you. I died under Antarctica's frost, saw the enemy's endgame, and came back to say, you're not powerless. Stay awake, cling to him, and don't buy the lie. What's your move? Tell me in the comments. When the world pushes its miracles, will you trust Jesus instead? Share your thoughts. I'm reading every one. If this hit you, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Don't miss what's next, because the fight's just starting. Check out the video popping up now. It'll take you deeper. Thanks for walking this with me. Until next time, stay blessed.